Welcome to Rooted Agritourism. I'm Dr. Liz Fiedler Mergen, owner of Sunny Mary Meadow, a you-pick flower farm, wedding florist, and event venue in central Minnesota. Our mission is to serve anyone rooted in agritourism, value-added agriculture, and rural entrepreneurship. The people turning ideas and raw products into thriving businesses and experiences. Let's dig in. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Rooted Agritourism. I'm your host, Dr. Liz Fiedler Mergen, and today we're going to do a little bit of a different episode than we've done so far. Flowers bloom anyway, which is kind of my solo episode, and that's how you know that within the series, I'm not going to be having a guest on this episode. Starting next week, we'll be back to our regular tons of guests, but it's been very crazy at our flower farm, Sunny Mary Meadow. And we took a bit of a planned fall intermission for a week off, and now we're getting back into it. I have so many guests lined up, and I'm just really excited to share a little bit more of what's been going on. So I want to talk about something that I've been speaking about more and more at conferences and workshops. And the more I talk about it, the more I realize that it's not just about business. It's about the life that you're trying to build within your business. And I call this talk Fertilizer Framework. And it's really how I've been thinking about growth, both at Sunny Mary Meadow and just in life in general. Because right now we are almost done moving into our new building, opening the bloom room, settling into this next season of our business. And it really is just, it's going to be almost like a brand new opening. And it's not like we're just changing locations. It's really changing everything within our business that we're going to be able to do now and retraining our same customers. But we have this loyal customer base. I know they're going to figure it out. But when I look around at what Sunny Mary Meadow has become, it's really clear that it did not happen by accident. And it's because every single piece of this business fertilized the next thing. Now, I'm not saying that it didn't happen by accident. In some ways, some things fell into place. I did not start out and here's my business plan and I just need to follow it step by step for 5 years and it'll turn into this. But it was a lot of reflecting and realizing that this is what needs to happen if I'm going to continue operating in a sustainable way. So when I say fertilizer framework, I mean that every part of your business should feed the next one. Nothing should be standalone. So when I first started selling bouquets, I thought, well, that's all it was, just flowers. But then I realized those customers who came once turned into subscription holders. And those subscription holders who showed up every week started asking about workshops because they wanted to bring friends along. And those guests started asking about weddings. And then the wedding clients started, reaching out to other people that they knew in other areas that were wanting to build a business similar to mine. And that turned in the podcast, the coaching, and now we're going to have these retreats. And all of it, every single piece of it feeds itself. And that's where the fertilizer framework just goes into motion because the flower farm itself feeds the retail shop. The shop feeds the workshops. The workshops feed the bloom room. The private events feed the speaking, the coaching. The speaking feeds the book. And then the book brings people back to the farm again. So it's not a straight line, it's a circle. And it's one thing fertilizing the next. And that's what sustainability really is. And when you design your business so that each part supports the others, you stop chasing these random new ideas and you start deepening the ones that already work. I've said this for so long. I want to go deeper, not wider with my customer base. And it's not about doing more, it's about doing it smarter. And so for me, that meant asking, what is next for this customer? If someone buys a bouquet, what's the next step they might want to take? If they come to a workshop, what do they want next? If they host an event here, how can we make sure that they come back? When you anticipate the next step, when you build that overlap, it all starts to fertilize itself. But here's the thing about fertilizer. It can be very messy. It's not always glamorous. It smells bad. It's made up of things that you probably wouldn't choose, but it's what makes everything grow. And that's so true in business. For every win, sometimes there's been a mess underneath it. And that might be failed ideas or missteps or slow seasons or very expensive lessons. And there were years that I said yes to everything. So pop-ups, custom orders, last minute events. And I was exhausted and still barely making money. But I didn't know it then, but that was fertilizer too, because those messy years taught me so much about what did not work, what was not going to continue working long term. And it forced me to build systems, to price correctly, to delegate, to value my time. And I stopped trying to plant 100 new seeds every season, whether that's figuratively or literally. And I started just focusing on enriching and fertilizing the ones that were already taking root. And that shift has changed everything. So I know I've shared about this a little bit in previous episodes back when we were Flower Farmer Forum, but I have a book coming out and it is called Flowers Bloom Anyway. It is a story about my last 5 years since my husband passed away, building Sunny Mary Meadow, why I made the choices that I did, what this means to me, what I did through grief. And I was actually reflecting on it this last week. And I promise I'm going to bring it back to the fertilizer framework, but just listen. So, whenever someone finds out that my first husband died, the very first thing that 99% of the time they ask is, how did he die? And they don't ask, what was his name? Or what did he love to do? Or how long were you married? Or what do you miss about him most? Or what was his favorite color? What was his favorite song? What did he do for fun? They just ask, how did he die? And I get it that people want to make sense of something that's senseless, but there are so many things that you could ask. And why do you ask, how did he die? And every time it hits me the same way. And it's like his whole life was reduced to the moment that he died. And now I don't get offended by that question anymore. I know people aren't trying to be, trying to be nosy or trying to be bad or, whatever. But I just respond and I say, he died of a heart attack, but I would much rather talk about how he lived than how he died, because that's what matters to me. He loved running. He loved Sunday morning breakfast. He loved pizza on Sunday afternoons. He loved working on projects that he didn't have time for. And he loved classic country music. And when he died, I made a decision that I did not want widow to be my identity. And I didn't want his death to be his legacy. His life was his legacy, not his death. And my life, everything that I've built since is what grew from it. And that's where Flowers Bloom Anyway really comes from. And it's the story behind the book. And it comes out March 3rd. Pre-orders open in December. And it's not a grief book. It's a keep going book. But it's about rebuilding that life that you didn't choose, of learning to keep growing even in the dirt. And I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. But the whole, first couple of years after he passed away, if you think of that fertilizer framework, those things that feed the next thing, the things that re-energize you, the things that help you grow, that's what I just kept leaning into more and more again. And that was the people that I surrounded with, one being my new husband, Brent. I felt lighter. I felt happier. It was like he was my own fish emulsion. Like, that sounds really weird, but you flower farmers are going to get that, right? He was so good for me and how I felt, and being around him just felt good. So I wanted to be around him more, and the things that I did and the activities that I did. And I stopped hanging out with people that completely drained me or wanted to be angry, because you will always find what you're looking for. If you are looking for a reason to be angry, you will find it. And if you are looking for reasons to be joyful, you will find them. And so that's where this fertilizer framework really kind of came into play. That's why I believe so strongly in this theory, because it's not just about grief or business or personal life or professional life. Everything is overlapping and everything feeds something else. And that's the same fertilizer that grew Sunny Mary Meadow. It's what grew this podcast, the book, and yes, the Flower Farmer Forum Conference. So if you've been following a while, you know that this conference is one of my favorite things to do. We've done it 2 years in a row now. January, we held it the first year at a local hotel in St. Cloud. And then last year, we moved it to the community center in Sartell, Minnesota. And now this year, it's going to be at my farm, January 31st, 2026. And it's going to be next level. I am so excited. I have a lot to share on it. I'm not going to get into details on this episode. We want it in person on purpose, and you can talk to people and you can share ideas and you can learn from one another. And we have roundtables and speakers and hands-on sessions, and we are really upping the swag bags and the things that you get. And I just confirmed. We have a sponsor. We're going to have like a big stem bar and you can make a bouquet and just talk about things. And it's just going to be focused on flower farmers and farmer florists growing profitable, sustainable businesses without burning out. And I will release an episode more about it in the next few weeks with the full lineup of speakers and a detailed agenda. But if you have ever thought about coming, this is your year to come. And you can go to my website, sunnymarymeadowcoaching.com. It's right on the homepage, 2026 Flower Farmer Forum. And the first 25 people that sign up will save 25% off their registration. If you are a PPP member, you get 40% off through November 1st. And then we also have on Sunday, we're going to do a farmer florist, essentially boot camp, but like Wedding Flowers 101, introducing a la carte weddings into your flowers or into your business as a farmer. Truly, I can promise that one wedding will pay for the cost of it. There's a lot of materials. We're going to have small groups of 3 at a time instead of, different sessions. And we'll have myself and Sydney and Brittany and Lydia will be here for the hands-on technical stuff and consultations, but I am so excited. And if there's one thing that I've learned from all of this, it's that you don't have to start everything from scratch every time. You just have to notice what is working, what is giving life, what is naturally overlapping already. You don't need 100 new ideas. You just need to strengthen the roots of the ones that you already have. And that's the difference between a business that lasts and one that burns out. And that's what I'm thinking about right now as we move into this new space and get ready to open the farm store. How do we make this next season feed everything else? The workshops, the community, the speaking, the book, everything. How do you build something that keeps giving back? And that's the Fertilizer Framework. It's not this fancy system. It's just paying attention to what grows and giving it what it needs. Before I wrap up, there's a couple of links in the episode notes that I would love for you to check out. The first one is for the waitlist for my book, Flowers Bloom Anyway. It comes out March 3rd. There you'll get the info to pre-order, behind the scenes updates, a few sneak peeks. So head to the episode notes to get on the waitlist. And then the other link is for Flower Farmer Forum Conference here at Sunny Mary Meadow on January 31st, 2026. It is my favorite weekend of the whole year. I would love to have you come learn, connect, grow alongside other farmers who get it. And I will be releasing an episode soon with the full lineup and agenda. But right now I can tell you it is going to be far and away our best one yet. And don't forget, if you register soon, use code EARLY25 to save 25%. So check out both links, one for the waitlist, one for the conference details. And thank you for being here, for listening, for growing with us. And next week, we'll be back to rooted agritourism guests. But until then, just keep paying attention to what's feeding what. Keep tending to what matters. And remember that flowers bloom anyway. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Rooted Agritourism. If you enjoyed it, please leave a 5-star review and share it with someone who would find it helpful or inspiring. Your support helps us reach more rural entrepreneurs, dreamers, and doers just like you. You can explore all of our resources at sunnymarymeadowcoaching.com, where you'll find each episode in blog form along with free resources to help grow your business. You'll also find info on upcoming on-farm and virtual workshops, classes, and courses. Be sure to check out our monthly membership, Foundations of Peddling Perishable Products, where you'll get access to a full library of our original course content, plus ongoing support through monthly virtual meetups with others in the industry. Just click the link in the show notes or our bio to learn more. We'd love to have you join us. Until next time, keep growing with purpose and stay rooted.